Hi everyone. Glad to be back with you all today. Love hearing from you. If you want to hop in, say hi. Tell me how you're doing. I like receiving the messages. You chiming in, sharing how you're feeling and how this resonates with you, how you can relate to it. I hear you. And as I say many, many times, if we can open up these conversations that often feel taboo to talk about, then I think that we are creating an opportunity for us to be able to do some deeper learning, some deeper development, some deeper healing in ways that aren't just better for us as individuals, but they're better for all of us because of the ripple effect. I'm huge on the ripple effect. You've probably heard me talk about it before if you've been around for a while. And today I want to talk about, and to specifically the woman who knows this feeling where it's like they see you and yet you feel unseen. And they could be anyone. It could be people at work. It could be people online. It could be people in your family. It could be from your family of origin. It could be within your current household that you're living within. So it can mean different things to different people. But there's this sense where they see you. They see you doing the things. They see you working hard. They see that you're really capable. They see that you're really strong. They see that you're the figure it outer. They see that you're the one that gets it done. They see that you're capable. They see your success. They see your composure. They see seemingly your confidence. They see where you excel. Like they see this, okay? They see you. They see these things. They see that you're doing things. But you feel unseen. You feel misunderstood. If you're like me, maybe you have felt throughout your life or growing up this sense of, I'm the black sheep. There's actually a really important place for black sheep, for pattern breakers, for perspective shifters, for tradition challengers, for out of the boxers, right? There's a really important place for us in this world, in this society, in our families. It's a really important place for us. I do deeply believe that, even though it can feel like a really lonely place to be in, depending on the way in which it's affecting you and your life. For me, it felt very lonely. For most of the folks I work with, it felt very lonely for various periods of their life. And then at some point, as they engage with healing and understanding some of the generational traumas and barriers and challenges, and they start shifting some of those, that loneliness can shift into something different, something that's purpose fueling. You may or may not be there on your journey quite yet, although I suspect if you're here, you've probably felt this connection in some way or identified it logically in some way. But let's take a moment with this experience where people see you and yet you still feel unseen. You are so good at understanding people and doing for other people, and yet you feel misunderstood or feel like people can't or won't do for you in a same or similar fashion. You hold space for others' emotions, but where do you find there's space for your emotions? You track others' needs, oftentimes with precision. You are able to respond to them, but often don't feel like someone is able or willing to tend to yours, or perhaps you're not sure how to let someone tend to yours. So even when care might be offered to you, there can be a struggle with letting it in, with the vulnerability that comes with that. This disconnect of, I love connecting with people, serving people, supporting people, and also I feel a lack of that in return. I feel a lack of receipt. It's so much more output and less input. That ebb and flow, that give and receive gets mixed up or is mismatched. And I wonder about your desire. Is there space for other people's wants and desires? And is there space for yours? Do you feel like there's space for your wants and your desires? How much room do they really get? What about rest, respite, restoration? You can understand other people need it. And maybe even logically understand that you need it. How often is that being integrated into your life, though? Is that embedded in your lifestyle? These are questions that we need to ask ourselves if we have this a little bit too familiar sense that people see us, but they don't see us. That they see you, but you're not seen. These are questions to ask yourself in order to get a feel with what you might be needing next. And if you're creating space, if there is space for what you need and what you want next, or if there's not. How about deep, safe, intimate connection? We all want that sometimes, right? At some point. How often do you get to feel it? How often do you get to let it in? How often do you get to receive it? How often is it offered to you and available to you? And why is any of this even important? Why am I even talking about that today? People sometimes, I think, wonder, ask, challenge where the place is for this kind of inner work, more holistic work, more mental health oriented work in the realm of professional development, leadership, parenting, even in just society at large. Like, oh, let's just put all that mental health stuff or spirituality stuff or all of that, the soft sciences, let's put them over here. It doesn't really affect the rest of our lives. It doesn't really affect these other important areas of our lives. And that's just not true. The impact is everywhere. If you pause to ask yourself some of those questions and you were honest about the answers, then you probably can, if you could sit with this for a few moments, you could start to feel some of the ways that energy and that experience ripples out and affects different parts of your lives, different relationships in your lives, different ways that you think or feel about different areas of your life. Some of us have that sense of you see me, but you don't really see me in the professional realm. I know I've experienced it before. It's like, yeah, people see me, I don't know, putting posts out there or sharing flyers or talking about my work. So they see me doing the thing, or they see the awards or accomplishments or the podcast episodes or whatever it is that I've created. Like, they see the things, but I don't feel seen sometimes. I've had that experience for sure. And all that comes up with that, past experiences, patterns that I've been exposed to, the wiring that I have within me. If I don't take time to better understand all of those internal components, then it keeps echoing out and affecting the external components too. Like doing a bunch of stuff maybe with work that I'm doing it because I feel like I have to and have to get it done, but there's no enjoyment because I'm just doing it because I have to, right? You ever feel that way? Well, I'm doing because I have to. I feel obligated to. But then you don't really feel as deeply connected to it. It doesn't feel as meaningful. The enjoyment gets lost. The satisfaction fizzles out. We can get stuck in a cycle of over-functioning I'm doing it and they see me do it, but I feel unseen deeply. I'm not seen. Can you feel that? And so you wind up getting emotionally depleted. And leadership can suffer if this happens in the professional realm of your life. It leads to burnout. So you're leading from burnout instead of from clarity, from confusion or brain fog instead of confidence and connection, performing instead of innovating, because it affects the way in which our brains are able to function in any given moment because of the stress and pressure that it puts our bodies under. And so we might manage but not be able to feel as connected. Really deeply connected, meaningful, purposeful leadership requires presence and capacity. It requires that we are able to internally be nourished, right? Not just be productive. So when we feel seen and supported in the professional realm, it actually can help us take bold, intentional action in meaningful ways. But maybe that's not you. Maybe it's not the professional realm where this plays out for you more. Maybe it's more like in the parenting realm. You get all the things done around the house. You take care of everything that the children need. You're really on top of the tasks and things. Super active. But because you're so focused on getting it done, and people, they all see it. They see mom gets things done, right? Mom can handle it, right? Do they get a chance to really feel your presence? Do they get a chance to really emotionally connect? Do you get a chance to really feel their presence? Do you get a chance to really emotionally connect? Because children don't just see how we behave, they feel it. They absorb our emotional state. They co-regulate. They pay attention to that, whether they realize it or not, whether we realize it or not. And so when you're emotionally depleted, constantly pouring from an empty cup, so to say, they can sense it even if they can't put words to it. And so can you. And you may be showing up physically. In fact, of course you are, because you're so action oriented, right? But emotionally, mentally, there can be a strain. And eventually you can feel like a shell of yourself. The inner work affects the outer experience, period. Whether it's within the professional realm, the parenting realm, the partnership realm, even within larger society. We can't deny this anymore. We just can't, especially with everything that we have seen our society go through within the past decade and continues to see unravel. We cannot deny this anymore. There is absolutely an undeniable, not just connection, but correlation. It is so interconnected. And so maybe it's not so much in the professional realm or the parenting realm for you, but maybe it's more in like the intimate partnership realm. You're doing a ton of the things in your intimate partnerships, or maybe just with family in general, with your family of origin. But eventually, as you keep taking action and taking more on your plate and more on your plate, and you're taking on more and more roles and responsibilities, your partner sees that, your family members see that you can do it. Is there space to deeply connect with them, to express and share your vulnerabilities, to express and share your needs and wants? Is there that space? And if there's not, what happens with the unspoken? What happens with the unexpressed? We need to be able to express ourselves in safe, genuine ways. We need to be able to do that. It's part of the human experience. It's part of what allows us to connect in meaningful ways. Does distance begin to occur? Relations start to erode? What happens? You might appear to be handling it all, but then underneath, what's happening with the intimacy? Is it fading? Letting yourself be seen, not just your actions, but to be seen like I can sense that I am seen, is so vulnerable. Just me doing this right now I'm talking to you, not just based on professional experience, but also my own personal experiences that I have had of feeling unseen despite being seen in all of the actions and all of the awards and all of the accomplishments. This is real. This is not just like some made up fluffy stuff. This is lived experience that so many women have right now. This is vulnerability. This is bold conversation. Letting myself be seen and heard in it. Letting yourself be seen and heard in it. It is so vulnerable. And it is a requirement for feeling deeply seen. Not just the actions we take or how productive we are or what we get done or our accomplishments, our achievements, our outward measurable success. Not just that. Because that can only take us but so far. Feeling seen, we all desire, we all want, we all need, we all crave, and it opens the door for deeper love, for deeper partnership, for deeper connection, for reciprocal care, support, conversation, and opens up a portal of creativity, not just within ourselves, which is amazing in and of itself, but as partners, as family members, as parents, as professionals. It is all connected. We don't get to segment it all anymore. That we just can't act like it's not anymore. Even in society, unspoken suffering of men, of women, of children, unspoken suffering, not being able to express yourself genuinely for who you are for fear of X, Y, or Z. Being physically seen or seen for what you're able to do or accomplish or provide, or the productivity that you can complete for this person or that organization. That is not feeling seen. It does not equate to feeling seen. And we want to feel seen. There is nothing wrong with wanting that. There is no shame in desiring that. And when women are constantly in this high functioning mode, doing and giving and going and doing and giving and going, which I absolutely have been guilty of many, 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 many times, right? We may look to others like they're seeing us. It might look like that. Like, oh yeah, we see what you're doing. But that is not the same as really being seen, deeply seen, feeling seen. You know what I'm talking about. If you're still here listening to this, it's because you can resonate in some way. The world changes when we don't just try to be seen for our actions, but we get vulnerable and we allow ourselves to find a way to open up a bit at a time, very intentionally, so we can feel seen for who we are. Flaws and all. Vulnerabilities and all, challenges and all. We all need and want that. This is why the inner work matters. And so when someone asks, what in the world does that inner work or healing or this, that, or the other in the mental health realm have to do with professional development? You come back to this video and you pluck out whatever it is that most resonates with you and you add your own twists and turns to it. Because it does make a difference. It does matter. Just think about the leaders that you've had in your life or the partners that you've had in the past of your life. And how the way that they've interacted with you has affected you and your life. And how the way they've interacted with you has been shaped, has been molded, has been affected by their own internal processes and challenges. It is all connected. Healing and high achievement are meant to not just coexist, but to work together. This is such a huge part of why in the reset experience, vulnerability is required. That's why it's a private, intimate community, so that we can become more vulnerable in the ways that allow us to more deeply heal and grow, not just certain parts of ourselves, but the multifaceted aspects of ourselves as mothers, as professional, driven women, as citizens in a society that we care about. All these different levels and all these different layers during a time, I believe, in our lifetime when we need it the most. And so I am really excited to share that from August 28th until September 3rd, 10% of all proceeds for the Reset Experience are going directly to the Red Shoe event, which is being run by Bucks County's BW Nice chapter in support of ending domestic violence. Because relationships are at the core of who we are. Relationships matter. And so many relationships are plagued by domestic violence, intimate partner violence, a variety of violence that sometimes seems like we could maybe put it under a rug or pretend it's not happening. But it is happening. And the more stable and connected we can be within ourselves, the more we can show up that way in the world, in the places, for the people that need us. So it was an absolute no-brainer for me to do this collaboration with BW Nice. Because as a therapist who specializes in trauma and also a woman who has experienced trauma in my own life, this is a very deeply personal cause that I believe we can all step into and care about and do what we can to support. No one deserves to live in a place or space where they don't feel safe to be themselves. And when there's domestic violence, that simply cannot be. How can someone feel safe to be themselves? And I want that. I want that for all of us. So if you know a fellow woman in entrepreneurship or as a professional leader who is incredibly driven, goal-oriented, has a lot on her plate, she's managing motherhood, maybe she's managing marriage, maybe she's divorced, it's okay. We have a variety of women that are coming from a variety of backgrounds as far as their relationship status. That's all okay. Share this with them. At the very least, if they're not resonating with wanting to participate in the Reset Experience, they can learn about the Red Shoe event and they can donate, because this is a cause that matters. I think we can all agree on that.